This is Nigel McGuinness, Ring of Honor superstar, and you are listening to Retro Unlim Radio. Stay tuned, wankers.
Yes, if you're listening to Slamcast, you know that you don't have to wait for the stars to align to create an equinox so you can be entertained here on a Friday night. I'm joined by my co-host, what was I gonna call you? The Brown Dragon! There you go, Mr. Michael Burhan. What's going on, buddy?
Well, I've got 22.3% chance of winning that sacrifice because he's fat.
141.
He's fat.
It's a fact.
Samoa.
If you listen to this podcast,
Samoa Regular Joe.
No, go on.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing alright, doing well, doing great, doing excellent, of course. I've got my brand new Bobby Fish tash that I'm kind of styling in. I'm letting the stubble grow underneath.
So would that make me the Kyle O'Reilly then?
Yes, you're the young gun while I'm the old boy. And we are here to capture the podcasting tag team championships, of course. You know,
I wish I had 1/64th of the talent that Kyle O'Reilly has.
I'm weighing currently as well. I'm weighing 189 pounds. I've dropped a lot of weight. Kind of proud. I've been posting pictures of myself on Facebook, flexing the muscles with my new diet that I'm doing. So I'm doing good there as well. Having plenty of sex, plenty of love, of course, ladies and gentlemen. I'm doing great. And of course, speaking of doing great, we have the king.
Rub it in.
The king.
Rub it in.
I think I've broken my mic,
king?
just the fact that I probably jizzed on it. Basically, we have the king of Supercard. Wow. He is Nick Cockwinkle. I mean, Nick Horacek.
Okay.
That was a good one.
We're like 2 minutes in and we already have Burhan with a dick joke.
Burhan is a walking dick joke. Burhan is a walking penis joke. Burhan talks penis all the time. I talk so much penis that people actually mistake me for a gay person. That's why. The gay boys love me because I talk
2 minutes. 2 minutes into the show is about the average time. I mean, it's actually below average. So we're actually ahead of the curve this week. But speaking of being ahead of the curve, we are on the curve going into Extreme Rules 1 week out. Cards are beginning to take shape. We had a pretty, I guess you could say, throwaway Raw. It's always good when the Raws are in the UK because, we see a lively crowd. They're fucking always amped up every time they get there. John Cena started out the show with a particularly interesting question that I want to start the show out with, that I don't know if this was foreshadowing or just him trying to tease the crowd, but John Cena said he would like to see a WrestleMania in the United Kingdom.
I think it's
I think it is long overdue that the United Kingdom finally gets the show of shows. It's really the one place WrestleMania hasn't gone yet, and I really hope that this was just their chance at their shameless way to
about it. Because I think he did do it to get a cheap reaction at the crowd because he was being booed fucking senseless as he came out. He came out and all you heard was,
you know what?
John Cena sucks. John Cena
you know what? It's
sucks.
not as vocal. It's not as vocal as to. And again, I've said this before. People have been on this guy for 10 years. We've just figured out a way to turn his theme song against him now. Like, come on, people, we're losing it. How long did it take us to chant "You suck" before Kurt Angle? We got to get ahead of the curve. Anyway,
they did that because Edge came up with it. That wasn't the fans thing. The thing is, I love wrestling fans, but we all are a bit slow, when it comes to stuff like this.
We're dumb. So, we're really dumb sometimes.
We're dumb, kid boy. But it's one of those things. I don't really mind it too much. I'm kind of, me being a wrestling fan myself and someone who loves professional wrestling. I think wrestling is awesome.
Right. Tell him out there, or maybe not, and that's him pandering.
In a sense, because first the crowd were doing their thing and he's like, y'all are entitled to your opinion and I understand your opinion and respect it, But one thing I do want to know, because you guys are so opinionated, because I think this is the best crowd in the world, and hell, I think you deserve WrestleMania, and everyone just went, yay! We're not angry at you no more.
Right here in London, England.
Yeah, he basically reinvented the Mick Foley pop. That's
he Mick Foleyed it.
Yeah, Foleyed it.
Nick, are you in agreement with us?
Yeah, I mean, if let's just say that is foreshadowing. I mean, now they could feasibly do it. The UK has had SummerSlam before, but that was what 92,
3,
91 or 92.
3.
No, was it?
It was 92. Actually, Brandon, it was 92, and
92.
I remember because I was watching it live.
That's
on
right.
Sky
Luger
Movies.
was 93. You're right.
I watched it live on Sky Movies with my mother, of all people. It was the first wrestling pay-per-view I watched live, and the first wrestling pay-per-view I actually watched with a parent. We just got Sky in the household. My mom sat there. I remember watching The Undertaker in his casket match against Yokozuna, I believe it was, when the Undertaker flew out the casket. My mum was sitting there going, kill him, kill him, kill that son of a bitch, kill him. And I'm sitting there as a little kid just looking at my mum going, what the fuck? It was fun on Channel 4, which was kind of a failed experiment on that one. But, it was
we're now joined by...
for tonight, he's Miguel Cole. He's
Miguel Cole. That's right. We're going with that gimmick still. Sorry, I forgot. I broke kayfabe too early.
He basically reported for us in the.
Hi,
Kevin
Miguel.
Kelly?
How are you?
At least Kevin Kelly's respectable.
Well, have you heard?
You know
about
what? We didn't actually come
in
up with the
FCW?
nicknames.
People shat on Kevin Kelly in FCW. On Kevin Kelly when he went to people hate.
Easily hateable. I mean, if you remember back to his time on the stick in the back, but. As an announcer, I'll be Kevin Kelly. He's
one of those guys who understands.
Oh, wait a minute! No! Screw Kevin Kelly. I want to be Matt Striker.
Okay, that's pretty good. Lucha
Miguel
Underground.
Striker.
I like Matt Striker.
You're Miguel Striker.
Okay,
I'm fine with being Matt
works.
Striker. He's one of my favorite parts of. He's one of my favorite elements of Lucha Underground.
By the way,
I really
I'm
have been
not
digging that show a lot.
I will not be done 7 rounds of coke.
Yeah, he's pretty bad. Like I wish they would get a better color commentator there.
Yeah,
honestly, my dream my dream announce team would be Kevin Kelly on play-by-play and Matt Striker on color.
I think
so you're trying to say you want to push Vampiro off a cage?
Kind of.
Conan is in. He could be a good face mentor.
Do you know what?
Like the wise sage.
Do you know what I think it would be pretty good? Matt Striker and Scott Hall. Just saying. I think that would be good. And Scott Hall doing color. Scott Hall's great on the mic.
I don't think you could hear his commentary over the sound. I don't think you could hear his commentary over the sound of his hip.
Oh. Hey, that hip made it down to the ring just fine at WrestleMania, sir. All right, Miguel, you're showing up late to the party. We were talking about. I was talking about the start of the show. John Cena saying the UK deserves a WrestleMania.
Great gimmick to bring a pay-per-view over there. Not a WrestleMania, and the reason I say that is because of the time difference. Vince will never do that because it's just too many things would get leaked out given the time differential. He would either have to do it.
Look, they could do it at 7 o'clock, 4 o'clock East Coast time, and it would just be. They could absolutely do it. They just don't. Don't have to be beholden, prove that because on the West Coast, I'm pretty sure that show aired live at 3 o'clock in the morning or in the afternoon.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, you would have to if you're gunning for 8 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what time it would be. Burhan, you're better at this. If it's 8 p.m. here, give or take.
They're not going to have the show at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But no, they can absolutely have a show. They can absolutely hold a show, and people would watch it at Monday. Absolutely, as long as it's not during football season.
You know what? I think
they can't do that.
East Coast.
They can't do that
over there in the UK.
Well, if we do it in the evenings, if we do it something like you guys would probably get it.
So they're not going to have the show at 1 o'clock in the morning.
You would have it at 3 o'clock.
But no, they can absolutely have a show.
Right.
Absolutely.
I'm hearing the show in the background.
Who's playing?
Do it. Watch live.
Oh, there we go. Radio 101, folks.
Yeah. But I would to me.
Don't listen to your own show.
I think we could do it. It's feasible. The only thing is Vince, and I think Vince is kind of one of those guys. I'm Vince McMahon. I'm very pro-American. I don't see unless it's financially feasible of dollars over what they would probably get to hosting it in the US. Would they do it? I could see a SummerSlam happening again, just by the point of it, but I don't see him doing it again. No chance
The
in hell.
the big worry with that is I think he worries that he's not going to be able to hit WrestleMania numbers in the UK by comparison, because WrestleMania obviously is a very American event. And I think he's worried that if he were to bring it over, there wouldn't be enough people migrating from the US to the overseas to go see this WrestleMania as you would if they had it, let's say, in Texas Stadium or something, or at the Barclays Center or something like that.
You would have more of your European fans that can't afford the trip to the United States buying those tickets that people would normally buy. That's the people that don't buy the travel packages from out of town that book their own flights and all that stuff come out.
Well, then that also brings our American audience. How is the pay-per-view going to come out in terms of the fans? What reactions are you going to get from the UK crowd by compared to the WrestleMania crowd here in America? I think that also worries him, that if he brings it over, he doesn't have his finger on the pulse of the UK audience or the European audience as he does the American audience. So there is a worry of that, unless he packs it with, UK talent or something, and then they'll cheer regardless. I mean, that was basically the case with, was it SummerSlam 92? Was it that had Davey and Brett in the main event?
Yep.
Yeah, they had to push that as well, because Brett was the one who pushed it, because Dave was a hometown hero, if could draw, which is the big thing here. I think with Vince, a lot of it now, he's kind of sticking to his guns. He's very old-fashioned, and I'm hoping we're going to see a bit of change, because apparently when he went to visit NXT, he wasn't very... He was happy that the show was packed, that the show was sold out and it was packed out. He wasn't happy with the anti-WWE chants. And we can see a lot of when Vince puts his work into something, it's either hit or miss. At the moment, he's doing a lot of misses, like with the Ascension's whole LOD 2.0 gimmick, or should I say 5.0.
Legion of Demolition.
Yeah, I think in terms of that, he doesn't really know what he wants to do or how he wants to do it. If they do this, they could even look at maybe doing a WrestleMania where they have 2 WrestleManias, one in the United States City, one in the United Kingdom. Double the fees. The problem is it's going to be double the cost, maybe even triple.
Yeah, but they did that with WrestleMania 2, and that was kind of a bit of a clusterfuck. That whole event had 3 different venues.
But it made a shit ton of money.
Yeah, I think. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the cost of that nowadays is too much, and especially now with satellite. It just makes more sense. Your biggest event of the year where a significant portion of your audience lives.
Put it to you like this. I see a better chance of them doing a WrestleMania or a big pay-per-view in China just so that they can tell people they did a pay-per-view in China than overseas. They're thinking, okay, maybe we're not going to make as much money. What can we get from a PR standpoint? And doing a show in China, in that environment...
They did SummerSlam in the Olympic Stadium in Beijing. Holy shnikes. That would be the biggest event in WWE history. I think just the cultural impact alone of that would be the biggest impact in WWE history. And I think
but here's what they would do.
They
would shadow Hogan at WrestleMania 3 with Andre.
They will.
It would be like it was 92. It was 92,999 people.
What that meant to WWE's popularity in America, them selling out the Olympic Stadium in Beijing, say that would be the modern Stephanie. That would be Stephanie McMahon's and Triple H's, Silverdome moment. Exactly.
Yeah, the thing is,
but all right.
Yeah. Just
no, go on, and then we're gonna change up.
UK, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen anytime soon. Cheap pop from Cena. Trying to basically get over him out and said, "Well, John Cena, I'm afraid I got some bad news." And you know what? He did really. His match against Cena was actually a very, very credible match. So just saying.
I say never say never, man. Never say never. Moving on from that, because I just was, not having a good show last week. I think we could all fucking tell that. John Cena is now the United States champ. We're now into week 3 of that experiment the John Cena Open Challenge has been going on now for 3 weeks, and it seems to be something that will be continuing for the foreseeable future. From what we have seen in the ring, and from what we have seen out of the matches that he has gotten with the talent, is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? I want to hear what everybody else thinks before I sound off. So,
mind if I go first?
Go first, yeah.
Okay. Firstly, Steve Austin has basically commented on the fact that Cena uses that stunner move, and
From Jay Lethal.
It's not just that. It's the fact that Austin was like, it shouldn't be a move used for someone to kick out of. It should be a more impactful move. People don't sell it well. John Cena doesn't know how to execute it properly, just based on the factoid that John tried it out on Barrett and looked like a fee. I think it's good for the people that he's wrestling because it makes them look credible going against the main event. But Cena is still winning. That's the issue here that I'm having. Every time he gets put in a title match, he still beats the living fuck out of people. He's got to be put on a lot more situations, like maybe 4-way matches, ladder matches, give him specialized matches.
Don't you think? I mean, Ambrose, like that first night after WrestleMania, I'll give you examples. That first night after WrestleMania, Ambrose looked like he was going to take him to the limit. It looked like Ambrose had a legitimate chance of winning the title. Who was the third person that came out?
Barrett.
Barrett. So again, Barrett. I think that match. Yeah. That match was good, and I think there was, at least some people in that UK crowd in that O2 Arena that night that believed he had, a legitimate chance of winning that night. We're going to be in that for a while.
He needs to be in that for a while, and situations, and you've got to have people who are going to beat him, even if it's non-title matches. Like, I don't mind him putting it on the line every night, but you could build up a story. I remember when me, what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Cena and Orton versus the Raw locker room. When they just dismantled everybody on Raw, made them look like a piece of shit. It needs...
it was that... Here's the thing, what that was Kevin Nash burying the entire Cruiserweight roster in WCW on steroids.
I really don't think it's that far.
In my opinion, I think Cena needs to be in more competitive situations. If Cena's really serious about this, he needs to be in a situation where he's like, okay, I got to let some of these guys go over and be credible. Beating Cena is going to be even more than Cena's him. And no shenanigans.
But people,
a clean win.
People were complaining. People were complaining that the United States champion would just win the belt and just lose. I mean, up until Rusev won the title, the United States champion was basically there for some other guy to get pinned, some other guy to pin.
But the thing is, with Cena, it's different. The United States title looks credible, but
elevating the awareness to the rest of the WWE universe of these so-called lost mid-card talents. I mean, not like anybody really needs to be made aware of Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose is, as over as it gets right now. But
Dean fucking Ambrose.
Guys, I'm just gonna run off for a second because I've got an alarm going off. Continue.
Yes,
go
call
ahead.
the fire brigade.
May
yes,
I?
Miguel, please go on. Yes.
All right. First off, let me just say I'm watching the Ambrose versus Cena match right now, and that motherfucker locked in an STF better than Cena ever did in his career. Let me just say that right now. You really should take notes, John, if you're listening to this, and why wouldn't you be? I mean, it's the greatest wrestling show out there on the internet that's live on YouTube. Let me just pick that cheap pop.
What's up?
I'm shameless. But seriously, I think the problem is that we're in a weird growing period because we're just coming off of two big paradigm shifts. On the one hand, you've got John Cena, who has been at the top of the card for the past decade, going down to the mid card. At the same time, you're now seeing a bunch of guys who have meant nothing in the Midnight Extremes meeting for the first time, and it's going to be rough. It's going to be a rough sitting because it takes time. You're putting a guy who really has been above the mid card for the past decade against a bunch of people who have meant nothing to the mid card. Of course, it's going to seem a bit odd. I think the whole open challenge thing is a bad idea. What I think they should do is I would love to see Cena do something, could use the rub, and have him go up against John Cena, trade wins back and forth, and put on more and more competitive matches, and that will build guys up. That'll build guys up a lot more quickly because it makes the guys mean something. It gives them a reason to fight instead of just, hey, John Cena has the belt. It's a showcase. It's a long-winded showcase. I think if they keep doing this open challenge one after another, isn't going to mean anything. You got to put emotion behind it. You got to put meaning behind it. That's why I'm pushing for the best of 7 series. I would love for Wade Barrett or Dean Ambrose to really have a feud with John Cena. I think that will build these guys. Losing to a matchup on Raw for no reason, well, not for no reason, but just losing to him just almost in a meaningless way does that. But at the same time, like I said, these guys are coming from meaning nothing, going up against a guy that's meant everything. It just seems odd. You got to build these guys to a level to where it doesn't seem off that these guys will be going up against John Cena. You know, you still got to build these guys up before they can get to John Cena. I mean, John Cena, even though we're putting him in the mid card, he's still got that air to them where he's kind of above. I don't think what they're doing now is terrible. It's just a very awkward growing period. Let's see how the mid card looks after 6 months and see if the open challenge has done those guys any good.
It's inconvenient, I think, is probably what Miguel's alluding to. It's inconvenient because you've got guys who are highly, highly talented in a scenario where it's going to hurt them. That's the problem. I don't mind the open challenge thing. I just think he needs a bit more build to it. Best of 7 series would be great. Have these sort of scenarios happen where Cena, for instance, or he gets called out and asked for a match, a guy goes over and it turns into a series of matches between the two and a hot feud. That's what it needs. His title needs a hot feud. Daniel Bryan holding the Intercontinental Championship for me, because Bryan looks like a guy you could likely pin for the title. Cena doesn't.
And that's I'll bring up what you guys mentioned, the best of 7 series before you let me get in there, Nick. Sorry, I meant to cut you off because we brought up 2 things. I like your idea of the best of 7 series, but I don't like it if Cena's Booker T. There is Booker T.
And some
he
guy
who shall not be named. Yeah, he who shall not be named. That one I think is the one that everyone refers. Yeah. Both coming up. I think that's when the best of 7 series should really be used. 2 guys both on the cusp of that coming up, where they need, that 7-match showcase to really get themselves over to the crowd. Those are 2 guys both coming up in singles wrestling that needed to establish themselves. Daniel Bryan, I think, would be perfect for a best of 7 series. Broom, and you're going to get 7 quality matches, and the Broom's going to go over. Nick, what do you got to say about that? Please come to my defense, because someone has to speak sense to me.
Yeah, this is you're putting
just Cena, not Cena in the best of 7 series, just his whole United States title reign.
Okay, so going on that, it just seems like I think what they're trying to go for is trying to elevate the title, because it really. Well, then again, Rusev elevated the shit out of it, but and that was the biggest fear with Cena. Rocky 4.5 is what I called it. But if what they should do is you put hot feud. Eventually, if they want to unify the 2 titles, you get Bryan and Cena. But then again, I don't know what they just need to put a title on Cena, top guy. I don't know.
From what my understanding of the situation is, that the reason why they took the belt off of Rusev was because Lana is going away to film a movie, and we've seen that Rusev without Lana really doesn't. Without Lana, no Rusev. No reason for a guy to be on TV, which does not bode well for that guy, by the way.
Well, the problem is he's in an archaic gimmick. No one wants to see Russian versus America or fucking the Soviets versus America anymore. No one wants to see that because it's old, it's dated.
Yeah, you got your moment. He came out on
archaic villain who's put into a situation
that going into that
would go over. Yeah, but he's a definition of a monster heel. Once you beat the monster heel and everybody else starts beating the monster heel, there's no point having the monster heel. It's a timed heel. There is no point having this person in the WWE, because you're going to need the guys who were, I'm going to say this, I'll probably get heat for this, like John Morrison when he was basically doing that gimmick at one point, or even when Miz was at his highest, The Miz. Even Truth, when he was a fucking nutcase, it works. You know, that could have had longevity, the heel, or Triple H as a cerebral assassin. These are the heels that work. They're the guys that can't get the opportunity on their own, but will find a way to weasel their way into it. They'll surround themselves by people, build up gangs to beat on the face who everyone knows. This is the thing here. Rusev, he's this credible wrestler, but he's the monster heel. He is always this character that's been dated. I think the only time they ever did this thing as a new thing and as something that could have worked, and a lot of people just like, you're probably saying that because he's brown. Muhammad, that even the heels hated him. Everybody hated him, from the faces to the heels, hated Muhammad Hassan.
Yes.
And he worked.
Royal Rumble 05.
Yeah, he worked so well, but they're too afraid because they're afraid of the backlash, what it's going to get, because it's a real situation. A very real situation. And Rusev,
right, you know, and
you will never see Rusev.
Or Rusev is going to be Funkasaurus version 2.0.
Pretty much. He'll just be teamed with a comedy character, and then he'll be burnt out of WWE existence. He might as well enjoy his
No,
time
oh
there.
God, wait, I just can't, I got a great idea. Yakov Smirnoff of wrestling. In Soviet Russia, Rusev.
May I?
Jesus.
Yes, please,
Yes.
Miguel, save us.
All right. I'm actually going to disagree with Burhan. I think the biggest problem with Rusev isn't so much that he isn't over. It's the fact that somebody else that he's associated with is so much more over. I think that's the biggest problem. I think there was one moment pushed this more. Did you guys see the video that they put up on .com of him training with the very like old school Russian style?
Yeah, it's basically the same thing that they did when do you remember when The Rock versus Cena, where they had the two of those guys training their different styles, and Cena going to a gym and then talking to like a young Seth Rollins and everybody from FCW?
I remember that because like you see him lifting in the thing, and you see Bill's name on the thing for like the deadlift record or something like that. That's on there. So
it was one of those things I laughed my head off, because it was one that I just looked at it and went, you're trying to make him out to be this big mentor to everybody else, but I call these things gimmicks. They do, you know, they did all this thing with Rusev to get him over. But
can I actually make my point though?
Okay, I apologize. Go for it.
Thank you.
Sorry.
My point, the point I was going to make is I was actually, if you're going to do an analogy close to this, is actually more the video that they used to build up Brock Lesnar against The Rock in 2002, where they compared their gym styles, where, and I think they had one where Brock was like lifting up like logs, and he was doing all sorts of like old school, like basically Rocky and Rocky 4, where he's got the very rustic looking gym style. They did that with Rusev. For those of you who haven't seen it, that's how you build up Rusev. You build him up as a serious monster. You build him up as a basically on the level of like a Brock Lesnar, a guy that's just there to beat up people and fight. The problem with the way they've been building up is he really has not been able to started to get over, and that's really hurt him. I think if you repackaged him and you rebuilt him in that same style as just an unstoppable killing machine, a guy like that I think could really be a good, maybe not so much a main eventer, but a good upper mid-carder to put against a main eventer. You know, I think a guy like him, if you really built him up as that type of just unstoppable bruiser, you didn't focus so much on the Russian aspect. He just happens to be Russian.
Do you mean Ludwig Borga, basically?
Essentially, yeah. Like, if you repackage him as
racism.
Yeah, just repackage. I'm not saying so much as repackage him, but just take the focus away from the Russian angle and just build him up as just go out there and beat people up. Because I mean, he's got the look for it. He's got the menace to him. That when I saw that video that they put up on .com, I bought it. I was like, man, it sucks that this guy's going to lose against John Cena. Because for a second there, I was like, yeah, a guy really built him up as a contender, as a guy who could just go out there and just dominate. And I think that's what, if you want to salvage Rusev, that's what you do. Sadly, I don't see WWE doing that, because in what Burhan said, to give some of that credence, I think in their mind, he's done. You know, they got what they wanted out of him. You know, it's like a condom. You know, you got your use out of it once, you're just going to throw it out. I mean, that's basically it. Yeah. They got their use out of Rusev, and he's basically just going to be floundering there. Well, that's your thing.
I'd be
But yeah, he's basically going to be just condos. I never use him, but Anyway,
actually, it was part Rocky, part Tracy Morgan.
But anyway,
that was
Miguel.
that. Yeah, that was my Rocky impression. But my point is that I really wish they would continue pushing Rusev, because I think a guy like that could be a solid upper mid carder if they put him in there, because he does have a level of believability if you pushed him properly that I think the main event needs, and that's why a guy like Brock Lesnar has gone so over. I think you could do that with Rusev. It's just I don't see them doing that. I think they got what they wanted out of him. They got their next Sunny, in my opinion, in Lana. Once they drop the whole Russian gimmick with her and just give her a new refreshed gimmick, I think she's going to be over like gangbusters.
Turn her American.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to do.
I can't wait till Dr. Shelby gives her English lessons.
Yeah, give it 6 months. She's going to be coming back as, she's going to be wearing when it comes to Rusev, I really wish that they wouldn't give up on him, but I'll agree with Burhan. It was a timed gimmick, but I'm not blaming that on Rusev. I think he's got way more potential than they give him credit.
No, I agree with you. I think he does have way more potential. I think he's kind of a guy who could be in the same boat as someone like Yokozuna. You could pair him up with another heel and have him as the guy's protector in a sense, like what they did with Yokozuna and Owen Hart, run with the Intercontinental Championship, which is, in my opinion, is kind of more elevated than the United States title. It seems to me like the bigger, more established title.
It's the homegrown title.
Yeah, no, I understand that totally. Now, for me, I would totally go in that direction. Have Rusev basically challenge for that, and have Bryan give him good matches. And we go over to the other little bit of news a little bit later about Bryan's status. I'm not a fan of what they're doing with Cena at the moment. I feel that, for me, storytelling is a must, characters are a must, and building the relationship between the title and the fans to make it seem like it's something deserving. I would, even for me, and this is a bit of a stretch, why don't they even go for a championship scramble match with Cena and kind of like the top 5 guys contending for that title? What you should do, you could have guys in the back coming up to Cena like, I want a match with you, I want a match with you. Have it turn into a situation where there's 5 guys vying against Cena for the championship, but it looks more of a desperate situation for him, because at the moment he's too Teflon. Everyone's bouncing off of him. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would relinquish his hold to the championship unless something happens. And that's where the problem lies. That problem needs to go away, because Cena needs to start looking more of the kind of guy that people would beat for the championship. Because at the moment, letting that fucking go, oh yeah, if anyone wants to challenge me for it, that's fine, but I'm just going to beat you anyway. That's where the situation lies. But
I don't know, man.
We shall say,
I don't know.
Even have someone beat him by DQ.
Right.
You could have someone beat him by DQ and then, come out and brag, I beat you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I beat you. Yeah, well, you beat me. Yeah, I beat you.
I just think that by having him have these matches with these guys, it elevates these guys, and he's not overtly squashing them. It's not like, come on, 2 punches, 5 moves of doom, and over. Like, everyone's getting their back and forth, everyone's getting their offense, and there's legit, hope spots where you think that, maybe Cena's gonna lose.
It's too early to tell. It really is. That's why I said you got to give the 6 months.
You know what it is? I think this was just something as a stopgap between him winning the title and his rematch with Rusev. And then if he's going to give the belt back to Rusev, or Rusev's going to get the rematch and that's going to be the end of it, or it's going to have something, beyond that, who knows? But I just think the John Cena Open Challenge was something as a stopgap behind that, and it's going to elevate these lower mid-card talents.
The thing behind it is, I just want to point out that one last thing. Rusev's not getting that belt back. Apparently there's a rumor going around that Cena's going to be keeping that championship for the foreseeable future, and they're even looking at redesigning the belt. I just hope it doesn't become another spinner belt, because I'm sick and tired of that fucking shit.
I hope it goes back to the old
mid-2000s.
Yeah, I hope it goes back to the old United States title that Cena had, which, was a spinner, but just don't make it spin. Just that, diamondy, John Cena U.S. title, Word Life, Crazy Thugonomics. But yeah, all right. So we want to talk about the news of the week because there was a whole lot of news this week,
Yeah,
including part
yes.
47 of our continuing story that how the hell is Impact Wrestling still in business?
Yeah.
So let's get on to the news.
Well, do you mind if I basically take it that little Impact Wrestling thing? Because I know you don't watch it very much.
I don't. Let's go that first. That's why I teased it first. Part 47 in our ongoing series.
As always,
how is Impact Wrestling still alive?
Me being your producer slash secondary host here.
The Bobby Fish to my Kyle O'Reilly.
Of course, you're the young talented up and comer to my old man who's nearly in time for retirement but still getting a great.
Easy, Burhan. If you take it too deep, you won't be able to breathe. Calm down there, buddy.
Yeah, cock. I'm cocksucking the biggest.
Phrasing.
Yeah, now going on from that, I watch Impact Wrestling. I am the kind of guy, I'm one of the guys who sit there, have his fingers crossed, his balls crossed, his legs crossed, everything crossed, hoping for TNA to survive and strive. Problem is, again, multi-billion-dollar company here with Panda Energy have somehow, some way, something, have kind of basically missed the point in offering people payments. Now, there was delays in checks for people. Apparently, as well, a lot of their shows have been cancelled by Destination America because Destination America doesn't know the wrestling business. They've also got some issues where Destination America is not allowing them to do things their way. They're saying, well, Kurt Angle's an Olympic gold medalist, give him the belt.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite part of this whole story.
Yeah.
Destination America throwing their 2 cents in because they're not having events taped in America.
Yeah, and
two,
they're doing like
wanting to have Kurt Angle as champion.
Yeah, Taryn Terrell is gorgeous. She looks nice. I know she did some Playboy modeling, but she looks hot. She has boobies. Let her have the Knockouts Championship. And
whoa. To be fair, Taryn Terrell is a trained stunt woman, so it's not like she's just some pretty girl. She actually knows how to throw herself around, and she's come a long ways.
I agree with that. I do agree with that whatsoever. But it's the thing is, booking should be done by the booking committee. It should be not even a committee, by the booker, because TNA is too small to have a committee of people. Come on, but there should be one main booker in the company who's dealing with all this shit. Destination America should not have their hands on this product at all. Because one, Kurt Angle is injury prone at this point in time. He's winding his career down. And you have more talents out there like Eric Young, there you go. Bobby Roode, you've got all these.
You got half of them, right?
Yeah. You've got all these one's gay, one's not. You've got all these characters who basically deserve the championship. You've got the Beatdown Clan as well, and TNA are doing some good things. They're doing some things right. With they've got these stables of talents that they're bringing up. The Rising, the Beatdown Clan, James Storm's Revolution. They've got these stables that are working, and they're giving all talents kind of the spotlight. It's kind of the way Ring of Honor are doing things, and it's kind of the same way that WWE used to do things back in the Attitude Era. For those of you who are kicking and screaming about how great the Attitude Era was, they're doing that at this point in time, and they've made some very credible talent, and they've strived with some amazing talent that they have on the roster. Big problem at the moment is they're also suffering in terms of money problems, which, again, a $1 billion company shouldn't be doing that. Late payments to talent shouldn't be happening. You had Manic on Twitter. You had a few others on Twitter saying, oh, look, I got my paycheck. Matt Hardy going, oh, I got my paycheck. But a lot of talents didn't. This is WCW-esque fucked up, totally fucked up. Taz took an exception to the fact they didn't pay him on time. Apparently there was loads of ongoing tension between them and Taz anyway. He doesn't like the direction the company's going in at this point in time, and has decided to part ways with the company. Firstly, he didn't show up to a taping. Josh Matthews had to do it on his own, aka the way Joey Styles used to do it. That's fine. As Miguel pointed out, they could bring someone like Matt Stryker in to take over Taz's position. Taz is not the best play-by-play guy in the world. He's kind of someone he's He's made a career out of being mediocre in that position. And
I think he's I think he just adds gravitas to the to the position, because whether or not he says it eloquently, you take what he says kind of seriously when he does make a point of opinion about wrestling.
He is himself he's a former world champion. He's a
tough son of a bitch.
Yeah, and being the guy who's basically shorter than I am, but as I said, he made a career out of being mediocre. On the commentary table. I'm not saying as a wrestler. As a wrestler, he was legitimate. But on the commentary table, he wasn't much. So having someone to replace him is fine, but TNA shouldn't be having these same problems. Dixie Carter, and again, I hate when this name keeps getting brought up because she really doesn't know how to manage the company. And people are like, why are you hating on Dixie? Look, as a CEO of a company, the buck stops with you. You need to know what the fuck is going on in every strand of your company, from your accounts department all the way down to your talent department, to your talent relations, also to your PR department and what tweets you're going out and stuff like that, and how talent are being booked. One of the main reasons TNA isn't getting the strength that it's getting, or the advertising revenue that it's getting, is these guys aren't going out to radio stations. They ain't going out to local radio. There's no PR going on. Destination America are taking control over your company because you're not opening your mouth and saying, hey, look, we've got coverage over this amount of places in these amount of shows over these amount of countries. We know what we're doing. Dixie Carter needs to grow a pair of testicles. Vince McMahon, if this was Vince, or even if this was Paul Heyman, Paul would have told people, thank you, but I've got this. He would have done something in order to appease the network, but also show them that he knows what he's doing. This is a major fuck up for a company because you're fucking up. You've got talents like Sanada, who was supposed to be your premier Japanese talent that you had a deal going on with, was it NJPW? That's now off the table because you fucked up. As a company, TNA...
It was Wrestle 1.
Wrestle 1, sorry, apologies. But you have talent that you're fucking over because you are not paying your bill. If you can't do it, sell the fucking company on to someone who can, or bring someone in who can do it. And, Jim Ross, again, I'm going to bring that name up.
Or just let the dream die.
Yeah, or just let it die. But Jim Ross, for me, would be the premier person who could make sure your company is handled and that your company grows. Jim has been in the business for God knows how long, and said that he would more than love anybody to handle the company or handle the business because she's too much of a mark for herself. Sorry, Miguel, you're going to say something.
Let me just start off by saying that might have been the case several years ago. I highly doubt if Jim Ross would want to be anywhere associated with TNA. The big problem with Dixie Carter is, you say she needs to grow a set of testicles. I think she needs to grow a set of frontal lobes. She has no idea what it takes to run a wrestling company. Honestly, the only reason I add admiration to it on Jeff Jarrett, he knew how to run a wrestling company. Dixie was basically just he was there. Dixie was there to basically be the school mom. She was the one that signs the checks and makes sure everybody's got their lunches packed and whatnot. But Jeff was really the foot soldier there. He was the one that was running it. As soon as Jeff was kicked out over the Karen Angle thing and Hulk Hogan took over, he started politicking. As soon as those guys left, you had nobody with a mind for the business to run the company. And it shows. They've had no direction since that group of people left, since Hogan and Bischoff left. Say what you want about Hogan and Bischoff, and as negative as possible, and I would agree with probably most of it. The fact is that they knew how to run a company. Even if it was just for themselves, they knew how to run a wrestling company. Dixie right now has nobody in there. You don't hear... I think the closest person she has is John Gaborik, and Big John, he's had experience in a company. He doesn't know how to run a company. He does not know. He was basically, I think his biggest claim to fame was he was basically Al Snow's second-hand man on Tough Enough.
He wasn't even a second-hand man. He was a babysitter, and that's it.
Yeah, essentially. But they need, I agree, they need somebody to guide that, because right now they basically don't know what they're doing. Dixie Carter has no idea what she's doing, and I'm not saying this to be mean. It just is what it is. It's almost like when Jim Herd took over WCW. You had a guy that was a CEO of a major company, in Jim Herd's case, Pizza Hut, who's in an element that he just doesn't understand. And you would think after 12 years, Dixie would have picked up on something, but it's clear that she didn't. the problem with TNA is right now, at the point they're in right now, nobody worth their weight in salt is going to want to be associated with them. They had Jim Cornette on board and burned their bridge with him, or he burned it with them.
No, they burned it with him. They killed it because as a company, they kept basically making attacks on him and defending the one guy,
Vince Russo.
Yeah, that he was saying was the cancer of the company. Yeah. It turned out the guy was the cancer of the fucking company. But wasn't as bad as everyone else that she was bringing in. She kept listening to, because she thought, oh, if I bring Hogan in, that's going to bring us credibility. Oh, let me bring Bischoff in, that'll bring us credibility. Let's bring Bubba the fucking Love Sponge because reasons.
Well, the reason was Hulk Hogan. Because, Bubba the Love Sponge is basically to Hulk Hogan was what Kato Kalin was to OJ, but we're not going to get into that. My point is that right now there's nobody that they can put in that spot with any sort of wisdom that can pull that company out. Cornette's not coming back. Scott D'Amore is not coming back, and he probably was just as influential with Jeff Jarrett at running that company early on. I mean, the guy's got a great mind for the business. I think Conan would probably be a third if they brought Conan back. He could have probably done it. He's doing great things with Lucha.
He's doing
how many major minds they had there, and you wonder how TNA was able to pull themselves out in the first place because they had so many great minds behind it. Now they've got nothing. Gaboric is basically nothing but a producer at this point, and that's pretty much it. They don't even have Bruce Pritchard there. I mean, I could even maybe say Bruce Pritchard, but he's kind of in the same slime bag state as Bischoff was, but we won't get into that. I don't know what you do with a company like Destination America. I think they're scrambling right now. And would you mind if I pulled up a little side story that happened about a week ago that I would have actually brought up had I been on the show? Do you mind just to kind of
no, go for
compare
it.
and contrast?
If it's kind of to bounce off of this one, it might be an extra little caveat, basically.
All right, while Miguel's looking for that.
Well, wait a minute. I got it. My mouse.
Oh, okay.
Oh, go.
No, so while Miguel's looking for that, do you think we're nearing the end of TNA or Impact Wrestling or whatever you want to call it, and this is, a buyout from Vince imminent just for the tape library alone?
I think Vince would be looking at the tape library, but I don't think he'll be looking at
just for the sting, portion of the tape library.
If I was Triple H, I'd be eyeing it up to kind of expand NXT list of contacts. I would look at maybe like spending a little bit of WWE's change to kind of buy it out, take the tape library, and also amalgamate the talent, because I know a lot of guys he likes from there. He's a fan of Bobby Roode. He said it like more than once. He was a fan of Samoa Joe. I think the talent they have. And I think they'll probably kill the brand off. You'll never see TNA again, but you could amalgamate it into NXT if you wanted to, because even with that company's basically going to be TNA's nail in the coffin eventually at a rapid rate. It's doing what TNA was supposed to do better and in a shorter time span.
Because you have somebody who knows what they're doing running it. But to kind of dovetail off of what I was going to say before, I read this article about a week or two ago, and it made me think. Are you guys familiar with Paragon Pro Wrestling? I'm going to take that silence as a no.
No.
Sounds familiar.
They're a Las Vegas promotion. They've got a couple names like Jesse Sorensen, I think, is in there. Joey Ryan. Probably the biggest name that I've seen on their roster is Gangrel, is actually a major player in there with Pop TV, which according to their press release is in 85+ million TV households. Now, have any of you guys heard of Pop TV? And if you have, don't say what it is yet, because I want to basically, I don't want the other people to know.
I've never heard of it. I'm not American, so I've never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I might have just scrolled past it on my cable and not actually.
Yeah, I had to search because I was like, what the fuck is Pop TV? Do you guys remember the TV Guide Network?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they rebranded about a year ago, and they changed their name to Pop TV. So essentially, you remember how TV Guide used to have those shows at the top of the screen, where at the bottom they would have the listings for different channels. At the top of the screen, they would show little TV clips or something like that. So now this Paragon TV Pro Wrestling thing is going to be playing on that little area. It's going to be basically one of their first big stabs at original programming. Now I bring that up because they are technically in 85+ million homes. And they are pretty accessible. I mean, everybody who's got a basic cable connection has Pop TV in their listings. I think there's I think maybe AT&T Uverse is the only company that doesn't have that network. So I bring you this. For all the shit we could probably say about them being on the quote unquote former TV Guide network, are they in a better spot than TNA is at this point? Because for Destination America, you got to look really hard to find Destination America on your cable package. For most people, it isn't even in their basic package. I mean, yeah, the TV Guide Network, I'm not going to sit there for 30 minutes and maybe watch an entire network for longer than, I'd say, 5 minutes before I see something that catches my eye in the listings. But, I mean, it goes to the point that, you know, TNA, it's so sad, man. They're probably going to end up dying. I don't see them getting bought out, though, because Dixie Carter's already proven that this is basically a pet project of hers. You know, this is going to be her Waterloo at this point. She's going to, if this company is going to die, it's going to die at her hands. She's not going to let anybody else take it and try to fix it. I mean, there was that whole story about a year ago where I believe it was Toby Keith and Jeff Jarrett offered to buy TNA from Panda Energy, and they said no. Yeah, the contract wanted Dixie Carter to still be in charge. She was like, yeah, you guys can buy it, but I still want Dixie Carter to be involved. And they were like, no, we're getting rid of her. Are you serious about selling it? And he said, yeah, we're not serious about selling it. It's a toy. It's Dixie Carter's toy. She is going to do what she will with it. And this company is going to die, and it's going to die at her hands. And that's so unfortunate because, you know, I see maybe Bobby Roode getting picked up by WWE. I think, Triple H is probably going to see Bobby Roode and try to pick him up. But for a lot of those guys, man,
Eric Young as well. I would say Eric Young just because the fact that Eric Young, as a heel, he's so many layers, and he's a guy who's escaped the comedy gimmick and is doing really well in his current persona. I really believe.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Eric Young is not marketable.
His own fishing show. The guy has fans all the way around the world. He's Canadian. He's someone who's very skilled in the ring and someone who actually. He's one of those guys that I know who he is if I see him. A lot of fans know who he is if they see him.
Here's the thing though. You can't think from the mindset of a wrestling fan. You got to think from the mindset of Vince McMahon. If I'm Vince McMahon and Triple H brings a guy like Bobby Roode and a guy like Eric Young to me and pitches these two guys, I'm gonna look at Eric Young and be like, this guy looks like Daniel Bryan. He's got a big beard and he's been playing a dork in his entire career. Fuck this guy. But this Bobby Roode guy will change his name to some feeling good this week or something. I see more of a future in Bobby Roode in WWE than I do Eric Young. Everybody else on that roster, maybe Kurt Angle, but given the stuff with him and Triple H, probably not. I think a lot of those guys will probably end up going back. He'll retire, and I think most of that roster will go back to Ring of Honor. Although with Ring of Honor's money troubles, I doubt that. But maybe New Japan will probably pick them up. They're always having money troubles. As bad as TNA is with Destination America, Ring of Honor is just as bad with Sinclair. Sinclair does not want to put money into Ring of Honor. I mean, if you ever see, here's a great example of what Sinclair thinks of Ring of Honor. If you ever get the chance, go online and find Breaking Kayfabe with Jim Cornette. It was another DVD they did with kayfabe commentaries where he talks about him leaving TNA and joining up with Ring of Honor and how basically Sinclair drove him insane and made him leave. You get a good idea of what Sinclair thinks about Ring of Honor as
all this shit for the buyout. And then when they bought it out, he was like, where's this? Oh, yeah, we're just going to do this instead. Where's the training center? Oh, yeah. Streaming. Have we got like a third-party company that we're working with the streaming? Oh, yeah, we've got this cheap-ass company that we're working with. And I remember
Go Fight Live.
Yeah, he was like, so Ring of Honor Sinclair Broadcasting made me hate professional wrestling. And he was getting the blame for everything as well because the guys in the suits had no fucking clue what they were doing. So back to you. Sorry about that.
I'll say this: if there's one guy out there in the independent scene that I would get to book my company, honestly, if I were running TNA, the first floor, I'd bring in Gabe Sapolsky. I think he's the only guy still out there in the independent scene that hasn't been burned out by TNA, that hasn't been picked up by a major company, that I think has enough of a mind that if you gave him the book and allowed that he could really do. Yeah, who else at this point off the top of my head that has any chance of being good? But if Panda Energy had any is basically a woman child,
waste of space,
and it's going to end with a whimper. Yeah, and that's so sad. It really is. And I know I'm probably going to be eating my words because they'll probably be still limping along in 5 years. But good for them if that's the case.
I don't know. As I said, for me, I think as a company, TNA still has legs. Dixie has to go. It's like cutting out. You know that you've got that left nymphoid which has that cancerous lump on it, which all you have to do is cut it out. You know, you don't need to give it chemo. You know, you don't need to put a Band-Aid on it. Just cut it out. And instead of cutting it out, they keep putting like fucking miracle cures, you know, like fucking soap on a rope or some shit, trying to clean it and going, oh, it's fine, it's good, you know, the pussing will stop, the oozing will, no, it's fine. Oh, it's a staph infection. Yeah, there you go. A staph infection on CM Punk's back. That's what Dixie Carter is to TNA. She's a staph infection that needs to be cut out.
And speaking of miracle cures, and I was going to say, and speaking of miracle cures, that brings us on to our next topic. If we want to just segue on using that little bit of a segue there, Brandon.
Yeah, because I'm getting ready to wrap it up a little bit, because I think there's really only one major story I think we could really talk about this week, and it's the major story coming out of the European tour. Daniel Bryan's been kept off of it because of injuries. Oh my God, people! Let's sound the alarms, start lighting candles, say your prayers, and everything else like that. It could
be the end.
Is this the end? Is this the end, or is this just something we're gonna have to be dealing with from now on, because, you know, Daniel Bryan's neck is made out of paper mache?
It's not just that, you know, who told them to allow Sheamus to beat the living fuck out of him the way that they were doing? I was just that boggled my mind when you see his head getting stitched up, and they're so proud of that, and I'm just like, it did nothing for Sheamus, and it that wasn't good for Bryan, you know, and they're like now sitting there going, oh, we don't know if he's gonna like even last, and you're like, well, you know what? You're putting this guy through the paces who should change his style. Me and Miguel were talking about this recently. If Bryan does continue, he's got to stop with the high impact shit. He's got to change his style. You know, it's worked with other wrestlers before who have suffered from this, you know, something similar in a sense. He can't keep doing this because his career is shortening and getting less and less credible by what he's doing, and I feel bad for him. I really, really do. You know, does he need to continue? No. You know, the guy is probably a millionaire tenfold right now because he's made all his money in the WWE. He's frugal as fuck, so he's saved. You know, plus he's got one of the hottest women in the business around his arm, who's probably, you know, made her money as well at the same time. So they've got probably enough to last the two of them for their entire, you know, for their family for generations. Does he want to quit? No. He loves the business. I just think in terms of anyone, he really needs to look out for his health. This does mean he could end up forfeiting the Intercontinental Championship, which again is going to piss me off because I've really wanted to see him with a long run with that title.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else?
You know,
you know what? I'll make my last point last. Go on, everybody.
Miguel?
I was going to say, at the same time, though, I mean, how much of that can you blame on Bryan and how much of that can you blame on WWE? Because I think it's such a two-faced comment about how we care about this guy so much, and yet they're putting him in matches, in ladder matches, on WrestleMania, in these really brutal matches against Sheamus. I mean, I know Sheamus can work safer. It's got to be WWE telling him, hey, really fuck this guy up, you know, really go out there and mess him up for us. You know, really go be brutal out there, because if they really wanted to protect this guy, they can. I mean, they've proven with Roman Reigns they could protect guys if they really want to. I think it's one of those situations where he'll rough himself up and then sit back and be like, well, I mean, we got to take him off TV. I mean, it's not like we've had this vendetta against him for a year or something that, you know, we wanted to get him off TV for years and haven't been able to. I mean, we're just doing it to protect him. They're not. They're putting him in a situation where he's going to get himself hurt. And he's getting hurt. And now they're using it as an excuse to get him off TV, because they know if they're still trying to push Roman Reigns, they got to get the guy off, you know, out of the public eye. You know, they're just using this neck injury thing as an excuse. You know, I do agree that Bryan should dial it down. I think the big problem with it, and I talked about it to you earlier, I think he's complacent. I think he's like, I'm not trying to, you know, I've done everything I can. Now at this point, I'm doing it because I like to do it. You know, he's had the WrestleMania moment. He's saved up all of his money. He's got a hot wife. You know, he's not the politician like a Bret Hart, because I know Burhan used Bret Hart in our conversation as an example. Bret was always trying to protect his spot, even when he had the main event at WrestleMania several times. It'd be nice if he had a long-term run with it, but he's done everything he can to prove it. At this point, he's just doing what he likes to do. I think for the fans' sake, he should dial it down, but I think in his mindset, he's like, I'm going to go out there and, give, 5 stars. And if I break down, so what? I've done it all already. I've made it to the mountaintop. As a fan, I can see how that would annoy me, but I can't really hate Bryan for that. He's doing what he loves, and he's doing it the way he wants to do it.
I remember
I think WWE.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
I think it's shitty on WWE's part to try to play try to save face and be like, oh, we're doing it for his own good. No, you're not. You're just happy that he's getting hurt so you can get him off TV so you can protect your golden boy. And that's always been the case. You'll never convince me that deep down they ever wanted to put their all behind Daniel Bryan. They were forced to put a smile on it, and it really is irritating to me. But as far as Daniel Bryan, if he decides he wants to have a long career and he wants to slow it down a bit, that's his prerogative. If he knows that he's only got a short amount of time and he's going to make the most out of it, that's his prerogative too. I hate it. I don't like it because as a fan, it means we're going to lose probably one of the more credible main eventers that we've had in a while, save for Brock Lesnar. But he's his own man. There's nothing more I can say. He can do whatever he wants. And as a fan, we just I respect it. I mean, I don't have to like it, but as a fan, I can respect that.
Nick?
WWE is so full of shit. There's like, oh, we want to protect Daniel Bryan. Then why'd you put him in a fucking ladder match? They're literally taking advantage of a situation that's completely detrimental to this guy's health. And if he gets permanently injured, they don't care. They gotta protect their top guys. Fuck this company.
Tell us what you really think, man.
Damn, son. Some fucking real heat coming from Nichols. And look, yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with them taking him off of it. They're clearly... I think they are looking out for his Beth Hells, or else, they would have just said, no, okay, can you go out there? Okay, go out there and fine. Give everybody else's, their money's worth.
I'll owe you one, goddammit.
Yeah, I'll owe you one, goddammit. No, I don't think he's giving out favors for the European tour. I think, though, this is what we're going to have to deal with for Daniel Bryan fans, at the nearest sign of any sort of discomfort or any sort of hint of re-injury towards that neck. Appointments are going to be scheduled, and we're going to be in this candlelight vigil status for his career. That's just the cost of doing business, I think. I hope this is just a minor injury, something he could quickly rehab. He doesn't have to drop the title, a couple weeks off the road, and he'll be back on it.
I'm hoping
within the month,
because it's. But I really.
But
think
we gotta know. It's too
style.
soon to tell. It's too soon to tell.
No, I agree. It is too soon to tell. But he does really need to reevaluate what he's doing, because I don't think if he keeps going the way that he's going, we're probably not going to. By the end of 2015, it's a shame, because he's one of those guys that he's so damn good in the ring and so damn believable at what he does. It's great. One of my all-time favorite endings to a WrestleMania was when he won the WWE Championship against both Orton and Batista, and when he defeated the Authority. That was a great thing for me. I felt when he gave up the WWE Championship, I was heartbroken. Seeing him win the Intercontinental title was great. But, again, he is someone where what they could do if they wanted to protect him a little bit more, maybe put him in matches where they do a fatal 4-way for the title. The title's hot. It's never been hotter than what it is now. You've got Bad News Barrett vying for it. You've got Sheamus, oh god, I don't even know what the fuck he looked. The reject from Mad Max, basically going for it. You've got Dean Ambrose. You've got Stardust. You've got all these variables who are vying for this championship. You could literally put all these guys into one big scenario where Bryan doesn't have to carry the load. And if I was a WWE, that's what I would do. Put him in scenarios, put him in matches where he's not carrying the load, where he doesn't have to do too much. And make sure that if he's going to go, he's got to just reevaluate his style. On the time he has off, why doesn't he go in NXT? Retrain himself, to kind of change his repertoire around. You don't need to go around fucking jumping off the fucking ropes and drop kicking people and doing the Japanese smash mouth style. You don't need to do it, because it's your health that you got to look after. For myself, when I ended up breaking my ankle, I had to retrain myself. You know, most of my stuff that I was actually looking at doing in the ring was kind of repertoire-wise, was more technical side. You don't need to go that route, and it's sad in a sense. And you know,
I don't know, man. We'll see. I think it's far too early to tell, and you know, we'll see this time next week if we know anything more, or I doubt we will. It maybe even be 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
I hope not. Let's hope for the best, guys, because I hate to see a career this bright that's just really beginning to take off, and it's really just beginning to gain, you know, continued momentum, just to end like this. So, I think that's it as far as the big news topics this week. Let's go plugs and the Iron Sheik tweet of the week, and bring it home there, guys. Yeah.
Well, hold on, Burhan has
I've
a
got
quick
a
thing he
couple
wants to
of
say
things
about
that
Raw and
I've got a
NXT.
couple of things that I want to just quickly talk about before we go home, of course, if you don't mind.
Okay, go for it.
Including doing the little ask him and stuff. Right, this week, wrestling, you know, for one thing, we have complained about TNA, we've complained about wrestling in general, but wrestling this week has never been better. I'm going to go, like, case by case. We've got NXT, which has been really good, very solid in terms of the matches what have produced. Rhino is also going to be competing next week, or is it this week that he's competing against Sami Zayn?
That was this week. I haven't watched it yet. That's why didn't really want to go into it. I know it was a really physical match. I mean, that's why I haven't really talked about it. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued, but what these emerging pros are going to mean to the NXT, both off camera and on camera. But I mean, I haven't seen it yet, so I really can't.
There was also talk
comment.
about NXT becoming an international, touring internationally, due to the fact they've got some loads of regular buys and bits and pieces going on there. Lucha Underground as well. They last week they actually released footage of them incorporating the 3-person tag team championships, reintegrating that. It was one of those titles that's a stable in Lucha. Was a stable.
No, I know. I get that. Really though? Okay. All right. I'll allow it.
It's, you know, I'll have to admit the way that the show is styled, the camera work, the way that it looks at the moment, as well with the addition of Alberto Del Patreon, it looks great. One thing that does make me laugh is
I love how you still call him De Patreon. Your
like,
girlfriend's Puerto Rican.
I know that.
Have her teach you Spanish.
I'm trying.
Is she?
Yeah, she's Puerto Rican.
Learn your accents, bro.
She's white Puerto Rican, believe it or not. So she's light skinned. Yeah, it is nice. Tell me, you know, when
whatever. We're not here to talk about fucking Burhan's girlfriend, all right?
Anyway,
Christ. I'm trying to get out of here. We've been on this fucking call for an hour and a half already.
We had the former Ezekiel Jackson debut, and he looks the worst he has ever looked in his life. He's got bitch tits. The guy's smoking cigars with an eye patch, and he looks about as credible as Ahmed Johnson.
Wait, he's got an eye patch?
An eye patch. Yeah, he's basically the head of this black cartel.
Like oh my god.
Yeah, this is the gimmick.
Yeah, basically, I guess the thing with the eye patch is he got a lit cigar shoved into his eye, so that's why he's wearing it. I just hear updates. I don't really watch a lot of Lucha Underground. I think the one match I saw was that Last Rites, casket match thing from a few weeks ago. But
it's a really
that's
good
the
show.
story with the eye patch.
Yeah, it's a really good show. Max Striker does really great on commentary. For those people, if you hate long wrestling, you know, like it's too lengthy with the Monday Night Raw, and you're not a fan of kind of TNA, this would probably be the perfect product for you because the style that they use is really good. They do great storytelling in the ring, and they don't oversaturate it. They don't go into points where they're talking too much. And the female wrestlers in this as well are really credible. So you get to watch women versus men matches as well. So the Trios Championship, that's debuted. They're doing a tournament for that at the moment. You know, Morrison has teamed up with Del Patreon, whatever the fuck his name is.
El Patron.
El Patron,
like the tequila.
Then. Patron.
Like the tequila.
Patron.
Tequila.
I think tequila. TNA happened. Pretty good, solid TNA. We had Eric Young versus Bobby Lashley versus Kurt Angle in a 3-way match. Decent match. Great stories being told in TNA currently at the moment. I have to admit, in terms of the way that the shows are being written, it's being done a lot more. It's very fluid. with the backstage shenanigans in terms of that, you know, you don't know how the company's going to hold. It's still, and I want to actually, it was one of the things I wanted to add for our last conversation. It is the highest rated company for that network at the moment. So they're pulling in big ratings. So that should be some more leverage that Dixie should be using to kind of get Destination America off their fucking assholes. Because she's getting shafted like a fucking whore in a whorehouse. You know, just adding that in. So that's great. That's the weekly wrestling roundup as well. Raw was strong from United Kingdom. Great crowd. I will say I love it when Raw and SmackDown was in the UK. I wanted to go myself. Lack of funds, I couldn't do it. But I watched it all live as well. And I will say it's.
I mean, we did get a great. The one thing that we got coming out of this Raw, which I thought was fantastic, and it set up this Randy Orton Seth Rollins match at Extreme Rules perfectly. I mean, if you are not convinced yet that Seth Rollins is probably the best goddamn heel in WWE right now, and probably next to Brock Lesnar, you could trade off. I mean, look, everything he did was just the perfect slime ball heel maneuvers. Everything down from how he called out Kane. I mean, the recliners in the role. It was just great. This is like a master class in heel work right now. I think you've watched Seth Rollins graduate from heel school and you know, put on a fucking show for everybody.
He's basically looked at the Ric Flair school of heeldom. He's sat there.
I think he's gone. You know who he's gone to? He's gone to the Triple H school of heeldom.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really agree because he's basically
the cerebral assassin part 2.
He's like his Triple H's pet project.
See that in him.
You know, Triple H has basically sat down with him and you know scored him on what he needs to do. He's a guy you can tell he's hungry, and he's a guy who wants to prove his salt. So you know, I wholeheartedly agree with you. And the whole Kane like. Would he turn, wouldn't he turn kind of thing? I liked it. You know?
I love that match, and we were talking about that with a great friend of the program, Jeff in our board. Jeff didn't understand the layers of comedy involved in that match, like the internal conflict in Kane. It was just like a great facial mannerisms. I mean, those guys wrestled a classic match and did like 2 moves. And kept the crowd entertained the entire time.
And the fact that he was beating the shit out of everybody. And he did like the old school Kane sort of sit-up thing. And he looked like he was going to... I love the whole car battery statement that he said to Jamie Noble.
Yeah.
You know,
it was great.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Oh, give Noble a mic. Give Noble a mic.
And the whole pep talk
week.
by Daniel Bryan as well, where Bryan came in there was like, you know, you're just going to lay down.
Wasn't there also a Brad Maddox appearance this week, or was that last week? Did we miss that?
I think it was last week, and I think we missed it. Okay. It's a shame. I think Maddox should be a lot more on TV, you know, as himself, but I think they're trying to find a perfect spot for him.
We could do a chorus and 2 verses about Brad Maddox's underused talent later.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Monday Night Raw was solid. SmackDown again was solid. I can see, because to me, when originally they kept Bryan off of Raw, I felt, okay, they're probably going to put him on SmackDown and have Bryan defend the Intercontinental title on SmackDown and have John Cena, you know, defend the US title on Raw. I could see it, but that's not exactly what they're doing. When more information came out about Bryan's health, I understood exactly what they were doing. They're trying to protect him by putting him in a tag match this week on SmackDown.
Speaking of which, I mean, that match is actually more famous for what happened on something that didn't make camera. There's
a couple of like British comedians like jump the fucking
rails. Oh my god, that was great, by the way. Like, I'm not gonna encourage wrestling fans to do this, because if you don't do this, you're a right fucking twat. And I don't want to use UK vernacular.
You're an idiot.
To get my point. You're a fucking right fucking twat if you do this.
You cum slinger.
You, sir, are a right fucking swat if you do this.
You
right?
are
all right. This is London. This is London, Brandon, talking right now. Okay. But if you're gonna do it like these guys. The rock bottom that guy hits, fucking gets on top of the thing because, you know, security can't restrain all these guys. John Cena's even having a good time with it. He counts the one guy down. You know, if you're gonna do it, do something big with it. Don't be a fucking asshole with it and try and like hug Paige or something like that, because that's what I would do.
Do you remember the time when guys like that would have just gotten beaten the shit out of by like
Creepy Paige moment of the week.
Oh yeah, and
that was actually really
tasteful.
That's another thing we haven't talked about.
Thank you.
Naomi turned heel on Raw. That was like,
you know what? I like that. I like that, by the way. You know, I think it was, clearly a coached promo, but
yeah, I liked it too. I did.
Yeah, this is good. She's showing some depth of the character, which I thought. Yeah, which I thought, as you make her a face, you kind of gotta. She's got to be cookie cutter. She's got to, smile and do stuff. If this girl could actually act and has the charisma to do that and be a heel, let her off the chain, man. Let's see her do it. I like to see. You could still have her smash people in the face with her ass. I mean,
yes.
Move's going to be the same thing.
Yeah, the thing is as well, she brought up some valid points when she was.
You know what this means though. This finally means Mama.
Yes, it is.
Rest in peace.
But the thing is, I will say.
But Fandango is back.
Yes.
Well, is he back? Is he back, or was that just because that's the only place he could ever get a pop like that?
The UK.
He dumped Rosa
but
officially
hey,
on
for
SmackDown.
one night, he was more over than Roman.
Yeah, he dumped Rosa officially on SmackDown after this. They're going with this now, full force, after fucking like 3 years of the crowd being behind it,
of denying it,
they're now finally going with it. They're like just like.
And then once people are over it, now we're gonna try and bring it back again.
Yeah, and I did love when he just
Good job, WWE.
I know what my mistake is. I was trying to dance with you when I should be dancing with them, and then everyone went fucking ape shit. It was. I even sat there at home, like putting my hands up in the air, going, "Dude."
No, I did too. I lost it too.
I loved it.
It was great.
Yeah,
fucking marks.
We're marks. We're a bunch of marks. I can't help it.
Yeah, we go. We loved it. So, but
admittedly, I'm a mark.
He was more over than Roman Reigns that night. I will point that out.
He's gonna be more over. I don't think he's ever gonna get a bigger pop than anything. Like he could win the WWE title against the Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he's never gonna get a bigger pop than he did that night.
But the thing is, I like it. I see, I like the way that they're going with him. Maybe this means a good face run.
We'll see.
Again, the WWE tends to start.
It looks this could be promising
a rebirth
too
for him in a sense, But that's.
We'll see.
But yeah, as going back to kind of Naomi as well, she brought up some valid points. She was going on about AJ retiring. She used that as kind of fodder to put herself over as a heel. She was like, I've been around here the same length as AJ, and she's considered a Hall of Famer, and I'm considered like nothing, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I kind of agree with you. She's.
Well, you're not considered nothing. You're considered Jey Uso's wife or Jimmy Uso's wife, whichever Uso.
Well,
Mrs. Uso.
Wins and losses, like she said, don't mean anything. She's beaten Nikki on multiple occasions.
Absolutely.
They had to have a battle royale. It's like, holy shit, this is exactly what's wrong. It's just such a great promo. The way she came in, beat the crap out of Paige. It was, first of all, that was brutal. The way she whipped her into the guardrail. But
that's what WWF,
that promo
the Divas division needed. A strong black woman.
The Bellas have kind of soured in terms of heels at the moment. Like, the Bellas don't mean shit. No matter how much they try, I think that the most relevant they were was when they were selling the match for WrestleMania. When they came out and they shat all over Paige and AJ. That was the most relevant the Bellas have ever been. And I think adding a new heel to the mix is good. I'm hoping that this eventually gets the title off of Big Tits McGee, but we shall see.
Funbag Cena?
Miguel, you haven't said much. Do you wanna add your 2 cents into this whole scenario?
I didn't get a chance to see Raw. Unfortunately, I work Monday nights and I haven't had a chance to go back to see it. I've heard of the Naomi heel turn. Fine. I mean, there's not much going on in the Divas division anyway. So it at least it gives Paige somebody to feud against. I honestly would have swapped it. I think Paige works a lot better as a heel than a face, but that's just me. Who cares about Fandango? I mean, I've never thought the guy was really over. To me, the only reason his little, finger points music thing got over was because it was during a matchup no one cared about, and it was basically the fans being in it for themselves. But that's just me. Everything else, I really don't have much to say about it. Like I said, I can only judge based on what I've heard, although I'm still trying to find footage of that fan run-in, but I can't find it. It's been taken off of YouTube, so I guess that's something for me to look for.
Well, I'll give you a series of links later on after the show ends in terms of any of these programs.
One more,
Go on, Nick.
Sorry, one more quick gripe. Why the hell is Michael Cole back on commentary?
Yeah,
2 weeks after getting F5'd into oblivion. No neck brace, no brace, nothing. He's just back on commentary like we're supposed to believe that.
Initiating the
this
biggest
miraculous
WWE
recovery.
face turn in history, by the way. After being...
I could sell injuries for shit.
So, no. See, what happened is they announced that he was having a cervical. He was suffering from a cervical fracture. Now we think they were talking about his spine. No, what happens is he actually fractured his cervix, and that's fine. You can only take 2 weeks off of that. A broken piston is okay.
Yo, shit, Miguel.
God damn it! I wanted to do that joke.
Miguel, that might be the funniest thing you have ever said on this show. We gotta end it on that note. Do an Ask Him. Do Miguel Burhan, please do an Ask Him Iron Sheik tweet of the week, because that's the fucking perfect moment to end it on.
I think so. So
that is it.
Let's do an
That
Ask
is a
Him,
mic
ladies and
drop.
gentlemen.
Walk off the stage for Miguel.
Let's do an Ask Him, and there's basically the Ask Him I want to do is there has only been one individual who has won the WWE Championship after beating the King of the Ring. Now, I'm not talking about people who've gone on to win the title after winning the King of the Ring. I'm going on to someone actually winning the King of the Ring and becoming WWE Champion as part of the stipulation. A, who was that person? B, who did they have to defeat to win that stipulation? And C, what pay-per-view did they vie for the WWE Championship after defeating, said individuals to win the King of the Ring? Answers of the postcard, of course. I'll put it on Facebook. I'll post it on the wrestling group as well. If you go to facebook.com/groups/Wrestle Revolution. Now, again, just for one more for you guys to say, who won the King of the Ring to basically get a opportunity at the WWE Championship? Who did they defeat? And who was and what pay-per-view did they vie against the WWE Championship for? So, as I said, make sure you check it out, facebook.com/groups/Wrestle Revolution. I'll post it on my Facebook feed as well and on my Twitter, so you can answer the questions there as well. And answers on the postcard, ladies and gentlemen. And that's kind of the Ask Him done. So, Mr. Host of Hosts, it's time to take it away with an Ask Him.
Yeah, buddy.
Let me
my Iron
play
Sheik tweet of the week.
Your music.
Play my music or either music.
Him, I talked to him. I want to know, are you the man or are you a fucking piece of shit? No good motherfucker. Fucking bullshit. Bullshit, don't go
Oh, yes.
I'm the red.
Oh, yes.
American.
All right. We're going to pull in, cut the music. Cut the damn theme music. All right. Well, this week, I finally was able to watch the Iron Sheik documentary. And boy, let me tell you what, if you got an hour and a half to kill on Netflix, it's well worth your time, folks. I mean, the wrestling business is a cutthroat business to begin with, but I literally don't think there's anybody that has a bad thing to say about the Iron Sheik. And it was basically a who's who list of, people basically, telling nothing but great stories about this guy who has had arguably one of the greatest personal backstories in the history of professional wrestling. So believe me, everybody, if you got a Netflix subscription. Which leads me to my Iron Sheik tweet of the week. He says as he tries to exhale from his bong. I was gonna go with one, and then I saw this one like literally right before we went on the air, and it's an inspirational quote. Nobody comes up with the inspirational quotes like the greatest living Iranian American, And Shaky Baby has this to say to, really get you through the tough times. Go fuck yourself like nobody watching. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Iron Sheik tweet of the week.
Fucking bullshit!
Go. All right. Let's get some pluggity plugs out of the way, and then we're going to bring it home. It's a good show, guys. Again, Miguel's moment. We can't do any. We have to end the conversation with that. Again, that's just the perfect moment.
YouTube.com/Unlim Radio for any of the shows on the Retro Unlim Network. Of course, I'm going to be here for another week. Then next week, Michael Burhan's going to be taking a break. So, if you check out Wednesday...
And I'm not going to be here next week because I'm going to be in Chicago.
Yeah, so that will be a show that's going to be...
I guess that means I won't be able to do my show then because Burhan pretty much is the producer.
Actually, Miguel, you will be able to do your show because I'll be there for that. I just won't be here on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right,
fair enough.
Yep.
I'll talk about exactly what's going on. So, in 2 weeks, I'll be handing over the Retro Unlim Network to Mr. Nick Horacek, as he'll be doing the streaming services, of course, on the show. And I'll be at play.com. I'll be shooting a documentary at Play. I've had my tickets paid for. I've had everything booked by the chairman of the board, Mr. Stephen Richards. So I've got to give a big thank you to him for it. I'm going to speak a little candidly about the fact I've been going through a bit of a rough time financially. And Steve has kind of, I've basically had hotel tickets that I had to pay for that I haven't paid for them. My Play Expo tickets, I've been given free press passes for those, so, I didn't have to worry about that. But I've also had travel expenses that have kind of been brought up as well that I have to pay for. I am kind of sorting my situation out as we speak, but a lot of the funds that I'm raising aren't mine. They're not going to be for me. They're going to be for company finances, and I'll talk a little bit about that at a later date. Because, there's a lot that's going to be going... There's lots happening in the life of Michael Burhan. I probably might do a vlog about it and talk about what's happening, what's going on in my life and where I'm heading. But he's sorting that out for me, so that's great. But that means I'm going to be at Play Expo, so I won't be here. So, on Friday, which will be the lovely day of Slamcast... that basically will be having Nick Horacek taking the show with Mr. Brandon Liggian in lead. And if you're going to be here, Mr. Miguel Leon, you're more than welcome to be on the show too, as always, and all our other hosts. Burhan and the Boy every Wednesday, 8 p.m. ET. This week's show kind of fucked up because my mic was fucking up and now resolved my issues thanks to the savviness of Mr. Brandon Liggian here, myself from troubleshooting.
Savvy, I just told you it was working.
There you go. Thursdays.
I would fucking do it.
Thursdays, Burhan and the Boy. Wednesdays, we've got the Untitled Movie Show, of course, Mr. Miguel Leon. This week, coming up, I am hopefully bringing a special guest on, but I will not announce it yet until they've agreed. And we're going to be doing that show with Mr. Miguel Leon. Of course, he helms the show. He basically chooses our topics. He's amazing. So make sure you check that out. If you're a film buff, we've got Nina Kasky and Dave Wade on there as well. Mr. Dave Wade's conspicuous from his absence this week. Don't know what's kind of happened. Probably BT might have fucked his internet once again. Then we have I Got Gameplay next week as well. Now, next week it's going to be a pre-taped show. What's going to happen is I've got a special guest coming on the show. Again, I've got a talk with him first. We will be discussing the game Bloodborne from Software as well, and talking about what's happening with that. And this week, though, this Saturday, I'm going to be so proud. I've got James Rayner on the show from the Shenmue 500K forum, and what it is talking about is the Bring Back Shenmue campaign. So we're going to be talking about Shenmue, everything Shenmue based. Next week, shall I say, not this week, because and then we've got the other special guest coming up for that. This Saturday, Miguel, I Got Gameplay is going to be at a later time, 3 a.m. my time, 10 p.m. Miguel's time, and Miguel will be taking lead. Miguel, tell us what you're going to be doing.
Well, fuck, you already did all of my plugs. You might as well plug my Twitter while I'm at it. All right. Tomorrow gaming. I've got a little bit of a story I can tell about that, but basically I just want to talk about the the year that was 10 years ago and all the goings on that happened about around there. So look into that. Burhan already plugged my show, so I guess I won't need to do that. But twitter.com/unmovieshow if you want to get past links to previous episodes of the series or links to the official Untitled Movie Show YouTube channel, which unfortunately I don't have a dedicated URL yet. So just subscribe to us on Twitter, and you'll get a link there that'll get you to the official Untitled Movie Show YouTube channel. I just put up another episode where we talked about remakes. It was a previous episode from February of 2014, so look into that. But yeah, the Untitled Movie Show YouTube channel, just look up for it on YouTube and you'll find it there. It's got our logo on the videos. Twitter.com/unmovieshow for links to our Retro Unlim shows and links to the official YouTube channel. But that's pretty much all I've got to say that hasn't already been said.
Nick, Supercard update. I'm currently creating my legendary card. You know, the game's being fucking stingy, by the way. Fucking stingy.
Jeez. I got see what lucky do I get, but I got a King of the Ring ending here in a little bit. I'm in getting ready to get in the semifinals, but I'll do my Survivor Fusion tomorrow. I really got nothing, just a lot of grinding, trying to rank up what I have. That's pretty much it. Saying here, Brandon.
51 hits so far. 7 likes, 4 dislikes, of course, for those people who are butthurt. You've basically checked the video out. I do a nice little Rather British review on it. Pretty much sum the game up in its whole entirety. Nick, what's your YouTube channel? Where can we find you?
All right, I'm over at the Gaming Pegasus 187. I'm on Twitter at Gaming Pegasus 187, Instagram, Wii U, Xbox Live, Supercard Pegasus 187. I am over on Facebook at Nick Horacek. I'm on Slamcast every Friday. I won't be on I Got Gameplay tomorrow because I'm going to have to work tomorrow night. I got to cover for somebody, so more money in my pocket.
What time are you finishing tomorrow?
For work, like 10 o'clock my time.
Well, then come on. We're going to be doing the show at 10 p.m. Didn't you listen to what Miguel was saying?
No, what Burhan was
I was
saying.
kind of...
He was the one that did the plug.
Yeah. Oh, so we are doing
I did do the
3
plug.
a.m.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you either come on, Nick.
Yeah,
or
I'll be able to jump on.
Sec. When I come down, I will make a destination to your house and I'll give you surprise butt sex. My girlfriend won't mind. I'll be like, I won't enjoy it. I won't enjoy it. I'll just, he's got to pay.
Whoa, you're just ruining all the great momentum we just had.
Yeah.
Totally ruined it.
Okay.
Totally ruined it.
Mr.
I'm done with my plugs.
Yeah. Mr. Host, take it away.
Please.
And also talk about your wrestling show.
Yes, Fans Perspective debuted this Friday. Very good reviews, other than the slight problem that we had recording the audio, but we figured it out now. So all future episodes will be in stereo, not mono. Good times. We're learning things over there at Boneyard Productions. It's a work in progress. In the process of all things great, there was a time when they sucked. But Fans Perspective, check that out on the Boneyard Productions YouTube channel. We talk about wrestling and stuff like that. Think about this, but in a more visual format. I tweet. You just follow me on Twitter. I fucking retweet all stuff from there. I will be broadcasting my adventures in Chicago live on Periscope. I will try not to broadcast live during this show as not to air in direct conflict, although I make no guarantees about that. So check us out on Periscope. We will be broadcasting the adventures live from Chicago as we, sack and try not to burn Chicago to the ground. Yeah, follow me on the Twitter. Hey, Brandon, all hope. Apparently nothing Instagram. Go out there and support independent wrestling, folks. It's out there in your local municipality, wherever you are. I guarantee you there are people out there with spandex and boots and some lucha shorts probably, and some people wearing gym shorts that are lazy, and some old-time guys that are trying to just make some money. It's out there, man. It's wrestling in its purest form. Go out there, support it. It's a great quality night's entertainment. All the good brothers and sisters out there performing, good luck. Be safe on the roads. Be safe out there. Take care of each other. If you're going out partying, be safe. Don't do anything too crazy and stupid. So, for the late Miguel Leon, for Nick Horacek, for the absentee Mr. Dave Wade, who did not do his gimmick ending, for Naomi's huge ass, for Dixie Carter's dwindling funds, For everybody else here at Slamcast, go forth and spread beauty and light, peace, love, and humptiness to all. We're done. Play with my damn theme song.